Today we talked about altitudes and perpendicular bisectors. What's a perpendicular bisector do?
Like cuts it in half.
Cuts it in half and
Hits the altitude.
90 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay, and where do they all meet at?
The circumcenter.
Circumcenter, because it's called circumcenter because it's the center of a circumscribed circle, a circle that's drawn around it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we also did altitudes. How do you draw an altitude?
Straight to point all the way.
Go to the vertex, straight to the ground, not in the center. That's probably. And where do all the altitudes meet at?
The orthocenter.
Orthocenter. On the circumcenter also we talked about like it's the same distance from each vertex. Because each of these lines I'm drawing is basically a radius of the circle. So all the same. Okay, that was yesterday. We're adding 2 more today. There's basically 4 of these things altogether. Before I actually add one, let's talk about. Do you guys remember angle bisectors?
The thing
Yeah.
that's what is called the
It just splits an angle in half. So if you're drawing one, you just want to kind of like imagine this is a mouth and something's like spitting it straight out.
Where's the tongue?
It's like a what?
tongue.
Tongue. Yeah.
Or a
Tongue.
claw.
Anyway, it's got to go right through the middle. These should look the same, the angles. And, well, guess what I know about any points that are on the angle bisector?
In the
Interior.
Okay, they're the same, basically. They're the same distance from the sides of the angle. So how do you find distance? You draw a line that's straight to, kind of like altitude. You draw a line straight to it, it makes a 90-degree angle. So if it's on the angle bisector, it's going to be the same distance from either side. It looks like a spider web, doesn't it? All right. Okay. So actually, let's start with this. Gonna be gone again.
she
Are you sick again?
Gonna be gone 2. You're gonna be gone 2 days in a row.
Yeah, I know, right? Do you feel sick? That's a lot of class to miss.
Why did you call today? You didn't feel well.
Yeah.
is it the
Just
MRI?
skip both days.
I got the MRI yesterday.
She's gone.
That's why she was gone. I thought she was gone because she had like drugs or something to take.
Remember what I told you, Lisa?
Wait.
What?
Can you give me a Coke if you're
She
going
knows
anywhere?
Okay.
Can you give me a coke?
Who says the cherry? No, cherry Coke is like not as good as.
She's going homesick. You know, can you give me a coke?
They'll always. If it was my dad, they definitely stop. Not
Okay. Anyways, so if we draw angle bisectors
We got it.
in there, guess what? They meet at a point again. And kind of based on this little thing we talked about up here, they're going to be equidistant from the sides, so that means this point that they meet at is the same distance from each side. It's kind of hard to see it, but it's the same distance from each side. If the point that they meet at is called the incenter. This is for angle bisectors. Because it's the center of, guess what?
The inside.
A circle that's drawn inside. Let's see if I can do it.
Infinite Coke.
What the?
Wow.
Okay.
That's like cool.
That's called an inscribed circle. So yesterday we had the circumscribed circle that was outside. This is an inscribed circle because it's drawn inside. And it's supposed to be touch each side of the triangle. Anyways, so angle bisectors, they meet at the incenter. The incenter is the same distance from each side. Look at all those lines, quite a mess. Okay, and then the final one. This one I kind of feel like is the easiest though. That's how feel about it. It goes, well, it's called a median. Where have you guys heard this word before?
Sixth grade, seventh grade.
Well, like, what's it referring to though?
The middle, the.
Okay, there's a math definition, there's also, and there's a, like, arithmetic definition, there's a geometry definition, which we're about to do, but there's also a, like, everyday life definition too.
Isn't that one definition, like if you have a whole bunch of numbers, it's like the number that's like in the middle?
Yeah, that's the arithmetic definition. So it's also the strip down the middle of the highway, like you're going to Tulsa thing. That's called a median. Yeah, in numbers, it's if you have a bunch of numbers, like if I had all your test grades lined up in a row, the score in the middle is called the median. Okay, so it kind of basically means middle, right? So it goes from the vertex to the middle. Something like that. So vertex to the middle, vertex to the middle. And the place they meet at is called the centroid. I think this is kind of easy to remember because median sounds like middle and centroid sounds like center. So they kind of mean the same thing. Median, centroid. One weird thing about medians is that the centroid, I didn't draw it very well, but basically the centroid is going to be 2/3 away from the vertex and 1/3 of the distance is from the side. I don't know if that makes sense. So let's say like the whole median here, let's say that was like 12 long. Then from here to here, this longer section is going to be 2/3 of that. How do you find 2/3 of a number? 2/3 of, you guys remember the word of, right? It means times. So 2/3 of 12 is 8. And then this right here would be 1/3 of it, or I guess you could do 12 minus 8. 1/3 of 12 is 4. Kind of weird thing about centroids. And medians. And I think I talked about everything. If you look at the bottom of 216, that's kind of a handy dandy little, you guys see that table down there? You might want to refer to that later. It's hard to keep track of all these.
Do you think this is the easiest assignment?
I'll rate it 4 out of 1 through 10.
Wait, what's a 10?
10 being super hard.
Like calculus?
Sure, yeah. Well, it's 10 relative to you guys.
Have we done
I
triangles in here?
calculus is like not.
The only triangle chapter was last chapter. So the first 3 chapters were not triangles.
I forgot.
I looked at one of her papers.
It was,
It was like all letters. There was no numbers.
Side?
No, it was like just all letters.
We did like, chapter 3 was like parallel lines and the corresponding angles and all that kind of stuff.
Doesn't sound too bad.
And like the.
Yeah, it's called.
No.
That just sounds
We used some
like
of it in
writing.
triangles, but they were not triangles.
Like, keep it strong.
Alright, anyways, yeah, you guys ready? Number 1, name the illustrated segment in triangle XYZ. Which of those things is the angle bisector? So you can kind of tell because it splits the angle. It's the one where they draw 2 little arcs on the angle. Shelby? YD. See how the angle, they marked it with 2 little arcs to show that it was being split into 2 equal angles? And it's a segment, so segment YD. All these are segments on this one. Somebody else, which is the Forrest? You have the. Oh yeah. I didn't know if you were going to the bathroom or giving me the answer to be. Which of these is the perpendicular bisector?
No.
CA. Yep.
Wow, what?
because it's perpendicular. Now altitudes are also perpendicular, right? But you can tell because it splits x, y in half. So CA. Okay, which of these is the altitude? No. XB. Remember, the altitude goes from the vertex and like drops to a 90-degree angle to the other side. So VA. All right, which leaves what for the median?
X.
No. ZA. Median is going to the middle of the opposite side. Oops.
Oh, what? I thought I got it wrong.
C was CA. No. C was XB. Number 3. Point S is the blank of PQR. So if you read number 2, it says name the 3 angle bisectors. So they're telling us those are angle bisectors. So point S is where they meet. So where do angle bisectors meet at? What's it called? Incenter. Again, if you look, probably the best place to find it is right there, the bottom of the page, right next to it. Incenter, and why is it called the incenter? Because it's the center of
The thingy.
what do I call it? Circle.
Oh, the
Inscribed circle. That's a question, by the way. All right, number 5. So one thing that we learned about the incenter is that it's the same distance from each side. And if you look at SU in the picture, that blue line, that's like the distance from the incenter to the side. So if SU is 8, what is ST? 8. Number 7. Okay, it says if angle VRS equals blah, blah, blah. Do you guys see angle VRS? You guys see angle VRS?
Yeah.
The bottom half of the bottom right angle. VRS. And then it says, and angle URS equals blah, blah, blah. You guys see angle URS?
Yeah.
It's the top half of the bottom right angle. So what do we know about those two angles? They're the same because the angle bisector is splitting them into 2 equal angles. So they're equal to each other. So 7x minus 1 equals 5x plus 5. Yeah. Don't be lazy. Okay. So I guess we'll find x. It's not really what they're asking, but how would we find x? Subtract the 5x on both sides. That's Sloppy Joe. Do they serve them in the cafeteria? I like Sloppy Joes. It's like basically hamburger with some sugar in it.
I like the bread with Sloppy Joes. I don't like it though. I just scrape it off with a fork and you eat it with ketchup. That's even more
You eat the
disgusting than
what?
Sloppy Joe. The bread.
I eat bread
Just
with
the
ketchup
bread.
too.
That's not
It's
Sloppy
nice.
Joe. That's
Bread
bread.
is just wrong.
Bread with ketchup is good. Have you tried it?
Ketchup don't belong together.
Just eat the bread.
It's good.
I would
Honestly,
eat bread. With
Ketchup?
but not with the ketchup. No. My youth minister was making fun of that to me.
Okay.
He should make fun of me,
but at the same time, that's wrong.
All right. So we got x is 3, and we're supposed to find angle VRU.
Yo, that's like them two plussing.
It's the two angles together, right?
Yeah.
So I can find one of the angles by plugging 3 back in for x.
It's like
So like 7 times 3 is 21, minus 1 is 20. So yeah, they both have to be 20 because they're the same thing. 20 plus 20 is Heck yeah.
Let's go. This is too easy, my grandma.
Number 9. So on number 8 it says name the 3 medians. So these are medians. Number 9 says what's the name of point D? Where do medians meet at?
Point D.
Median sounds like middle. Centroid. Centroid sounds like center.
Are we gonna have to know these words
Yep.
for the, like,
Yep.
Mr. Jordan, how hard
I
did you
know.
get it in like a year for the book?
Like the whole thing, but I usually skip a chapter.
So that means we'd finish the whole entire book at the end of the year.
Probably pretty close.
Have you ever finished the book before?
Last year, yeah.
You're looking like a barbecue.
I mean, I skipped
No,
it.
only
I think I skipped like a chapter. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, at the end of the year,
Why does
we
it look like there's less pages in?
What happened to your leg?
it's split in 2. There's another book like
I
this.
got bit by a mosquito or two. Because I got.
Okay, so I forgot where we're at. We're at 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you guys might have forgot this, but it says BZ is 15. You guys see BZ?
Yes.
So find BD. You guys remember what I said about that?
It's 2/3.
Yeah, good job, Willow. BD is 2/3 of the way when you have medians. So how do we find out what 2/3 of 15 is? 2/3 of 15, yeah. 15 over 1 times 2 over 3 is, divided by 3. If you think about it, it makes sense, right? 2/3 of 15 is 10.
Yeah.
If you split 15 into 3 5s, 2 of those is 10.
Yeah.
Anyway. So on 12, it's kind of the same thing, but it's asking for dy, which would be the shorter side. So that would be 1/3 of the way, right? Okay, 13, it's drawing time. Drawings. So the first one's supposed to be an acute triangle. And we're supposed to be drawing angle bisectors. So try to be kind of careful, just split that angle directly in half. And if you do it right, they should meet up. I think we're supposed to put, the directions say put an I for the in center. Number 14 is supposed to be a right triangle. Split the angles in half. Let me try that again. Is an obtuse. Alright. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Let's go.
Mr. Jordan, have you read Frankenstein?
I think I did a long time ago. It was kind of boring as I recall. 8th grade maybe?
We're gonna read it soon.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that then. There's a lot of time where not much is happening or you're like, what is she talking about? Okay. Sorry.
Are you saying like, are you sure?
But what's worse than
I wish you would.
what's worse than Frankenstein? Maybe I shouldn't say it because you might have to read that too.
Probably not.
What did it say? Say it.
Scarlet
The dictionary?
Scarlet Letter.
No, we don't have to read that.
You know what was boring? The book that we read last year.
The high
The
one?
Scarlet
Yes.
Ibis was so
I
boring.
think that book.
Like, it was
I hated that.
only
No, it
like
wasn't. The high
2%
one
of
wasn't
the
even a
time.
bit interesting.
The only interesting part was when they broke into the house.
Wait, who?
Literally every book is read in class.
Dude, that book was so lame. Like,
So
even
long.
whenever they went to
Who
concentration
reads it?
camp.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like
dude.
Nazis.
Like,
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, this was.
even when they got captured and tortured, it was like, brutal.
Why? Is it because you're German?
Hey.
Nazis.
Yeah, in the book before, it was just as boring because like they also got captured and tortured by
Probably half the
Nazis.
people in this room have some German in them. It's just
Dude,
how
I
it
have
is.
some Norwegian.
Yeah.
and
I
they're
found
boring.
out that
I think mine definitely has
Partly, yes, I'm sure.
I didn't get.
Probably a lot of things.
natural gas.
Okay. Number 16. So we're supposed to draw medians. So on medians, you just go, and we're supposed to label it G for some reason.
Wait, why are we doing this?
So just like put a dot in the middle of the opposite side, and then just draw a line.
Is that all we're supposed to do? Oh,
Draw all 3 of them.
this just looks like a square.
And then a right triangle.
Have you guys ever played the hit game?
Have you ever stuck up before?
Yeah, I have. I just don't feel like doing it right now.
He has to do it when he gets home.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Your mom's so nice though.
No, she's not.
Okay.
It's being recorded, right?
It's being recorded.
They are.
I don't care. She
No,
already
they're
knows.
not. Whoever thinks that.
Except for Issa's mom.
She
told me
grounded
to
me
go to
because I
bed.
got an 89 on my
It was like
grade
9
for
o'clock.
one day. It's gonna
My
go up
mom
tomorrow.
took Skylar's phone away. As a phone.
Maybe Skylar did that.
Dude, my mom is such an Among Us.
Alright, enough.
She is sassy.
You're feeding it stuff.
She's not feeding me. She's making me sad.
Oh.
That's my mom, but she beats me.
Oh.
Hey, what?
That's not funny.
It wasn't supposed to be.
Why'd you say it like that, bro?
Because she's like, it's an honest question for an,
How did Among Us become reading?
because you said that that's just so she bought the momentum.
I just asked if she was.
The Kenya being.
Bro. People should be quiet when you're talking.
Dude,
Please.
that's what my grandma said once.
Problem is, America has this right of freedom of speech.
And you can say that you want to be a Nazi, but you can be punched in the face. You can also say that. I'm not gonna say that word.
Alright. Number. Okay, let's talk about 22, I guess. Are you guys done? Do I need to give you more time?
No.
What is
My
this
TV
about?
is broken.
Hank. Finish do something.
You should arrest Caden for harassment.
Granny, you remember what happened that time in PE?
What time do you?
Think about it.
The sword?
Okay, so on 22 it says the senior class is installing a bird bath and paved patio area for a local nursing home. They sketched the available triangular area and took the measurements shown in the diagram. So basically, though, if you look at that triangle they drew over there, those are angle bisectors, and the place where they meet, the end center, is supposed to be equidistant from all the sides. So basically it's the center of the circle, the inscribed circle is 5 feet from the side. So what does the 5 feet measurement represent? You guys weren't listening when I was talking, were you?
Oh, wait.
It was, I just don't know.
It was.
Yeah,
It
it's-
was.
It didn't cross.
What that one?
It got burned over.
Boris, do you like?
Okay. Those are angle bisectors that they drew right there. Where do angle bisectors meet?
Circumcenter.
No,
No,
In
the
center. Why is it called the in-center?
The circle on
Because it's the center of the inscribed circle.
Yeah.
So what would that 5 feet line represent?
Angle bisector.
No. It's the distance from the in-center, the center of the circle, to the outside of the circle. What's that called when you go from the radius? It's the radius of the inscribed circle. There's an invisible inscribed circle.
Are you gonna do
Okay,
it
so the, what?
tomorrow? Are you gonna do it?
Yeah, I always do, I have to do the clock.
Hopefully I don't run into you again.
You ran into me?
She got embarrassed and like all of a sudden stopped
Did you
and
do the
turned around,
rainbow?
looked around, and like went head
I
first.
was,
And you like pulled up like right
I
behind
was
the line.
crashing.
You were
But she,
driving?
like, no, she swerved right before she like hit you.
But you were driving?
Well, if I was driving, then I'd be scared.
Okay, so, circular pavers are available in kits with several dimensions. So what is, if the radius of the inscribed circle is 5 feet, what's the diameter? 10 feet. That's the
Let's
base.
go. Too easy.
All right.
Probably like 20 feet.
23, can you guys tell what's going on in that picture?
It's like the
Those
angle bisector.
Angle bisector.
line.
You guys remember what we said about points on the angle bisector?
It
They're
goes to the
always-
edges.
they all look the same line on both sides.
They're the same distance from the edges, like equidistant. So they make like congruent little right triangles there. Does BF equal DF?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Because,
And
They're
angle
equidistant.
bisectors, they're equidistant.
because,
They hit
They're
the
F
circle.
is, because F is on the angle bisector, so it's equidistant. So what number is this, 23? Yes,
If we say yeah,
because F is on the angle bisector.
I forgot what color they're.
On the same line.
bro,
Means it shares the same line. So, why do you guys think we know that G is on the same angle bisector as C and F?
Because AG is bigger
Because it's-
than EG.
Because G is the same distance from the sides of the angle.
Yeah.
It's on the same angle bisector. It's basically 24.
It's the same distance.
G is the same distance from both sides of the angle, so it has to be on the angle bisector. I feel like this stool might not last much longer.
Are you gonna get a new stool?
No.
that was downright disrespectful. My grandma will be speaking to my grandma's voice.
All right. What's 25 say? if angle ACE is 70, you guys see angle ACE in the picture?
Yeah.
If angle ACE is 70, what would angle FCD have to be?
Half.
Half of that. So what's angle FCD?
70 divided by 2.
Which is
35.
35.
Okay.
Okay, the question though on 25 is what's angle CFD? Do you guys see angle CFD? Right there. How can we find that?
35 plus 90, 180 minus
180 minus these two. 180 minus 90 is 90. 90 minus 35. 55 degrees. Alright, the next one says, well, 27 says, AGE, do you guys see AGE in the picture? Is 130. So, this is 130. Earlier though, you know how we said G has to be on the angle bisector? So I can go ahead, even though they didn't draw it, I can go ahead and draw the angle bisector through there. We're supposed to find, so if this whole thing is 130, then what can I say about like this angle right here? Right, 130 divided by 2, 65. What are we supposed to be finding? ACF. You guys see ACF?
Yeah.
It's right there. Okay, do you guys see the triangle?
Yeah.
Right here.
Is it the same as one?
Same as the last one, basically. So it's 180 minus 90 minus 65 would give us that angle. What's 90 minus 65? I guess that was the last one. Still got 9 minutes. Try the evens.
You like to play the game Among Us?